Yeah, this is a whole nether. I mean, I think addiction might have even been harder than the cancer. Okay, because and the
Mm.
reason why is the cancer. The I had this cancer and I didn't really question what I was going to do. I mean, I had to pick which hospital to use, but they said you're going to do this, then you're going to do chemo, then you're going to do radiation, and then you're going to go through these steps, and you're going to have scans every 3 6 months, CT scans, and I just did it. Okay, so now give yourself, now I had built this persona of a person who liked to have fun and was going to grab life and just do everything. I mean, I've run with the bulls in Pamplona. I've been to Mardi Gras. I've been to parties all over the place. I've done these really wild and fun things. And I just wanted to continue exceeding that. And so I think that the addiction was hard because it was a choice. Like I really didn't have to give it up. Like I could go to the liquor store and grab a beer, or I could still get medication because I was complaining about pain, and they would still give
Yeah.
me whatever I wanted. And I could still do it. And that's the hard thing. It was really by choice that I had to do it. And I had some big contributing factors that, now my daughter is starting to get to be, 5 6 years old. And and I I was uh, I was not behaving. I was drinking too much on my own and isolating and not feeling very good. And I got into this cycle. Well, first I had to detox from the pain meds after a year, and that was suicidal, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't realize how terrible that would be. Getting off of opiates was, I guess it's like heroin, and I've never done heroin, but I was taking 20 oxycontins a day, and that, 20, so 400 milligrams, and that's a lot for anyone who knows about, the pill use. That was a lot, and I was 100 pounds, so I had lost a lot of weight. I couldn't digest things. I was missing organs. I had been to chemo and radiation, and I was just popping
Sounds like a
pills.
living hell at that point.
It was, looking back, it was very terrible. I was just trying to get through every day. And at this point now that I've survived the cancer, well, after a year or so, now, I've got a wife who's getting frustrated with me because I'm taking these pills, but you don't understand how tough it is. It's so hard. And so I got to a breaking point with the pills that I was running out. I took my month's supply in 2 weeks. And so I'm like,
Mm.
that's it. My hands up. All right. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna just stop taking the pills. Well, that was like, jumping up. I couldn't. I probably would have shot myself if I had a gun. It was so bad. It took me a month overall, but the first week I couldn't even get off my floor. I mean, what you show in the movies, they condense that pain down to like 15 minutes in a movie, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, make a
But
montage of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
montage, but try to live that. Like, oh my gosh. And then, and I'm changing my shirt 5 times a night, because I'm just terrible. So getting off of that, I felt that. And so now you get off of the pain meds, and I'm not drinking alcohol, I'm not doing anything, and I'm clean for, a couple months. And I'm going, okay, I want to get back to the Steve that was before. Let's go back to being social, having a glass of wine with dinner. Let's do this. And the problem is, once I flipped that switch with that addiction, the
Yeah.
wine never was the same. It wasn't a social glass of wine. It was like, let's have a bottle, right? And then I just didn't stop it. I used it as a substitute. And that developed over the next couple of years, which threw me into rehab, right? Right. So, I mean, I just begged, and I went into rehab once. And so I tried it to fix myself up, and I snuck into rehab, by the way. Like, I didn't want anyone to know. I'm so embarrassed that I got a problem that I didn't tell my work. I didn't tell anyone. I just like drank a bottle of wine and went in, right? So, you go to rehab and you're sitting there and you can't use your phones because it's all taken away from you, and you're meeting some interesting people. And after 2 weeks, you kind of get a little clarity, and then I ended up getting out, and because I figured I had it all licked. No problem. I can do it. I feel fine. But, I didn't really I didn't do the work, really. Like, all the stuff that I went through, it took a lot of work. And people say it's incredible, you did a lot. And I go, I just did what I was told and it worked, but it took a lot of work. So for the recovery, you know, I had to go back to rehab and meet characters in there and do a lot of counseling, basically, and admitting that maybe I didn't have the solution. Maybe I needed help. Maybe just admitting that I couldn't do it all on my own was a big thing for me. And I had to do that in group settings. And talk about a guy who already had anxiety for group settings and panic attacks, and like now you're sober, I can't reach for a drink, I can't take a pill, and now I've got to just be honest about what really my problems are. And that was it. And I basically said, I'll do what I have to do, because I'm already losing custody of my daughter and she's being taken away from me. And I was just a loser. I mean,
well, Steve, actually, can you pull on that thread for a second? Can you actually just go a little bit deeper in terms of understanding that, okay, addiction was a choice, but you had to accept it. You stuck in to the, rehab. Like, talk about your self-worth and how you went from point A to point B in terms of maybe not even feeling like you were worthy to where you are today.
Well, my only validation at this point in my life was coming from, my clients and my work, and I was actually still succeeding in my business. And so at home, things were falling apart. But everyone from the outside thought that we had the perfect life. And so I had to keep up this exterior of this perfect life of, we got this nice house, we've got this beautiful daughter, we're married, we go and travel to nice places, and things appeared to be really good, but I was just falling apart. And I just felt, it's weird to think that you have all these things and yet you're not, you feel alone and you've got all these things. And so I was walking around thinking that I was a lot, thinking that I had it all, really, when I really didn't have it all. Like, I was kind of an empty shell. And that's the weird thing about what I think. I look back at myself, and now when I see people, like when I see the things they say out of their mouth and then what's going on, it's like I can see in that layer behind what they're saying. Like, there are so many people that do not feel as comfortable with where they are in their life, what they're doing, what it is, and I see it already. And it's like they don't even have to tell me. So what I find is, if I disclose a little bit in our conversation, next thing you know, they're telling me about all the shit that's going on and that they'd never tell anyone else. And I go, is it just me, or they just need that outlet, or what is it that in people that needs to actually admit that things aren't perfect? Because life is far from perfect. And I think that I was trying to pretend that it was perfect. Oh my God, it was so unperfect. But